how did baseball become a thing for you? I'd imagine that youth managers or coaches and youth sports kind of push you towards basketball. Was that never an option?
I did play high school basketball and baseball, and it was fun at the time for 3 out of the 4 years. And then when I got a scholarship to go to USC, it was theoretically a half basketball, half baseball, but I essentially was just playing the 3 years that I played there at USC for Rod Dato. It was all for baseball. And I think, I still hadn't come into my own during college. And then I signed with the Montreal Expos, and then 4 years at the minor league level, still trying to gain some control and consistency with my mechanics, and then eventually got called up in Montreal. And during all this time, there's the biggest hindrance at that time, but also it was a double-edged sword. The biggest attribute was my height and my leverage and my ability to throw 95 to 100. It was just a matter of becoming consistent and not, and trying to understand and get it harnessed. That was probably the biggest challenge for me, and it took several years into the major leagues. And so you can imagine it was always something that was, I was trying to keep under control.
So what clicked? What helped you click? Do you remember when you clicked?
I think there was moments of real highlight games for me that was very encouraging, and then you go back out and 5 days later, as a starting pitcher's schedule is, and then you don't have that same success, and then you start questioning your ability and all that. But I think eventually, inevitably, in the Kingdome, my home for 10 years in Seattle, I had a nice conversation with Tom House and Nolan Ryan, and I think it was probably being in the American League West at the time, and Tom House being a former USC Trojan, I think he took the time to obviously see some mechanical flaws that I still had that hadn't been corrected in high school, college, 4 years in the minor leagues, or even the first couple of years in Montreal or in Seattle. And it was one small little thing that they were going to show me when Nolan threw a bullpen session in the Kingdome, and it was simply falling on the ball of your foot, your landing leg. And what I was doing, I was landing on the heel of my foot, and that would inevitably make my momentum when I was falling towards home plate or trying to fall towards home plate, my momentum would be turning because my heel would be twisting, and I would be falling off towards the third base side. So inevitably they taught me and showed me how to land on the ball of my foot, and then naturally my momentum went towards home plate, and I was able to, have everything follow and go towards home plate. And I wasn't losing my arm angle, and my velocity was staying the same, and it just became very impactful. One small little thing like that was really what I was looking for, inevitably, to remain consistent on those games that occasionally I would have. Those games became more consistent, and I really actually started having a lot of fun in the game when I was able to see my ability. And then I just tried to get more out of my ability by understanding the game itself and how to pitch. But really, I was trying to find my mechanics and the building blocks of being a pitcher. Most pitchers already know about the mechanics and aren't hindered by their 6'10" frame. That was the downside. But inevitably, I was thankful that I had a conversation with House and Nolan, and then from that point on, I was playing catch up, if you will, where other pitchers were already ahead of me because they already had the mechanics. I was trying to catch up to them in their ability to pitch, and now I'm learning how to pitch with the attributes that I have, my fastball and my height and leverage, and things started coming into place, and it was a lot of fun.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.